How's it going, everybody? We've got some huge news on the loot game front with a completely new game announcement direct from the Video Game Awards last night. The first ever confirmed PlayStation 5 title was announced, and it's none other than a loot-centric game. My name is JustJarrod, but you can just call me Jared. Let's talk about the first ever looter slasher, Godfall. Being published by Gearbox and developed by Counterplay Games, Godfall is being described as the first of its kind, a looter slasher game, hack and slash combined with looter shooter. Godfall is a brand new IP set in a brand new bright fantasy universe where you play as heroic knights who've mastered the art of melee combat and magic. Godfall features fluid third-person real-time melee combat that aims to reinvent the combat of loot-driven action RPGs as you hunt down legendary loot. You'll be able to play solo, with a friend, or with two friends for a total of up to a party of 3, and depending on how big your party is, enemies and bosses in Godfall will react, attack, and defend in ways never done before in gaming. Godfall is meant to be a revolutionary step for the looter genre. Those are big shoes to fill, but someone's gotta do it, and maybe this new looter slasher is the one to change the game. When I think looter slasher and look at this GIF that Godfall posted on their Twitter, I immediately think about another game, and that game is The Surge. The Surge had you playing third-person melee combat, heavily focused on skill, and severing your enemy's limbs to take their loot physically off their body to claim it as your own. The game focused on tough combat that you had to learn over time and bosses that had unique and difficult mechanics, much like the Souls games. Will Godfall be as mechanically tough as those games in terms of combat, or will it blend itself into a new form of melee combat that we haven't seen before? Seems to be the latter if we go by this tweet on the official Godfall Twitter page. Godfall is aiming to do something a little different with its combat. We will have a fresh take on third-person melee combat by rewarding offensive gameplay and making every hit matter. When you go over to the main Godfall website, the 3 gameplay pillars that are displayed are the high-impact melee combat, the legendary armor and weapons loot chase, and the ability to party up with friends. Right off the bat, that tells me that loot will be a huge factor in Godfall, and that is exactly what I want to see. A new loot game that can rival the others out there, progress the genre, build competition because competition always breeds new ideas, and right now, the looter space is in dire need of something different. I'll tell you what, it's very cool to see the reaction to Godfall's announcement, even after the recent failings of almost every looter action RPG. Destiny 2 launched terribly and it took a year to get back on track. Division 2 I don't even hear about anymore, and we all know what happened with Anthem after years and years of hype. Mostly I'm seeing positivity from the Godfall reveal, and that's a very nice change. I'm still unsure if this will be a live service game. There's no confirmation on that, but I'm going to assume it is. It would be almost impossible to compete with the other looter shooter games without frequent updates and events and things that other looter games all have now. Unless Godfall aims to change that up as well, which I would be completely down for. As long as there's lots of loot and loot rarities, I'm sold. The visuals on the trailer look unique. It doesn't look like any other looter shooter or third-person loot game. It kind of reminds me of Diablo 3 visuals mixed with Darksiders, mixed with God of War. There's a lot in there, but visually it looks stunning, and I can't wait for the gameplay reveal that's sure to happen in 2020. Godfall is releasing in holiday 2020 on the PlayStation 5 and Epic Games Store, and it is the first revealed title for the PlayStation 5, which is exciting. This tells me that Sony is confident in what Counterplay Games is making, confident enough to sell it alongside their brand new system next year. Before we end the video, I'm going to read the introduction into Godfall that CEO of Counterplay and game director of Godfall, Keith Lee, wrote for the PlayStation blog, which I'll link below as well. Keith says, "We founded Counterplay Games with the singular desire to create games focused on high levels of personal mastery, rewarding players for the time invested with our titles. We get to accomplish both with Godfall and the hugely exciting PlayStation 5 hardware. Our goal with Godfall is to reforge fantasy ARPG style loot progression and third-person melee combat into a whole new genre, the looter slasher. Namely, our game is uniquely one part gear driven and one part player skill driven. Godfall retains the desire for offense-oriented, mastery-driven combat rewarding you with head-turning, powerful loot that then inspires your next set of character builds. Godfall's third-person melee combat is fluid, dynamic, and interactive, embracing offense over defense. While many games these days create one-off cat and mouse challenges for players, we want to broaden combat encounters with enduring replayability. In Godfall, you can expect satisfying one-against-many enemy encounters along with challenging head-to-head boss fights. Godfall's designed from the ground up with co-op in mind, so you can play the entire game in solo, duo, or trio. Your enemies will respond dynamically, mutating their behavior and attack patterns based on your group size. Our goal for co-op is stronger together and fun for all. You can expect to hear much more about Godfall next spring. We're honored to bring Godfall to you on PlayStation 5 in late 2020. Learn more at godfall.com and stay tuned. There's a lot of awesome stuff there, namely character builds. It looks like we'll be putting together our own builds and hunting for that next piece to perfect it. I wonder if all loot will be random, or if Godfall will take inspiration from Borderlands and many other games where you have to farm a certain boss for a specific drop. Either way, Godfall is looking and sounding insane, and I can't wait to hear more. It looks like spring of 2020 is when we'll get more information. Gameplay is sure to come soon since the game is only a year away already. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Most people I've spoken with are super stoked for this. I know I am. Another loot-driven game, hell yeah. Hopefully Godfall can pull it off right. We don't need another looter flop, especially to start off the next-gen consoles. If you enjoyed the video or found it informative at all, a rating is super appreciated as it helps the video get seen by more people and makes me feel good, not gonna lie. If you are excited for what's to come with Godfall, consider subscribing as I will be covering it as much as I can. Anything to get me away from Destiny, please. I've been itching to talk about something brand new and Godfall just fell into the lap of content creators everywhere. I'm stoked. Links to Godfall's trailer and related articles are down below, as well as Godfall's official Twitter page and official website if you want to check those out. But that's it for me. Until next time, have a legendary day, night, afternoon. Peace out.